And we're live. We're in the building. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Are we all right? Pissing down in sunny Manchester. Pardon my French. Got to quell that. Too much French speaking going on. How we doing, everybody? Hope we're all right. Hope we're doing all right. A big hi and hello to all new subbers as well as old subbers. A big thank you to all the support that goes on through the comment section of this channel from various people who it's made apparent that they don't always comment, but kind of breeze in to make us a comment, like a power comment, and then kind of breeze back out again. All that is greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Who is this? Yes. Oh, sunny Southport. Mr. Menza, how we doing? When I was at Eton Park, it's glorious, isn't it? And look at it now. I'm just so glad I got home. So glad. So glad. Yes, Bob, how we doing? Something in my eye, so I might flicker every now and then. I'm not flirting with yous. It's got a bit of shite. Pardon my French. More French. You know, there's going to come a time I'm going to be speaking more French than English on my streams. I can see it. I can see it. I might as well call myself Red Pill Rouet. You know what I mean? Red Pill Fabian. Yes, more people. Afternoon. Yes, British Reactor 2. How we doing? Good to see you. Lugner. Yes. Mate, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All free of charge. Don't cost you jack to come on here. You can actually take what you want from the channel as well, including the music. How many people give you free music? If you wanted to download any of them remixes that are mine currently, even the mixes and the mashups, you know what I mean? Just don't tell them I told you. But if you wanted to download them, convert them to audio files, stick it in your playlist, go for it. That can create a nice little shimmy at some point in your life. Yep, go for it. Well on that. Yes, Hermit 33. How we diddling? Lee Phil. Le Red Pill Phil. That's it, innit? Le Red Pill Phil. Why you speak on that France, Le Red Pill Phil? Yes. Johnny Retro's in the house. Yes, mate. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was a pleasure to go up there. It's beautiful. Gorgeous day. Good timing. And that observational point's really eye-catching. Very nice up there. It's a pity the building is actually considered a dangerous building now, so they've fenced it all off right round it. Don't know what they're going to do with that. But yeah, it was looking nice, very lush, very manicured as well, which is nice to see. And there was tons of people. The boating lake's still pretty active, which I was surprised about. So I'm going to take the family down one day and get on the boating lake when the weather improves. Winx downloader, free and good to download YouTube. There you go. So, you know, the content's there for you. Seriously is. If you like any of it, take it. Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. Crossroads. Conscious crossroads. It's what you do, innit, from now on in. And I think what each individual does now plays a part in what will happen on a bigger level. Same again, don't lose your shizzle and keep your vibration high. Try and send a positive message. Still critique, still find the woes in life and still give it a voice. But, you know, but anyway, here's me, Red Pill, Live Phil, rambling. He's eating a whole fence. You know what? I'm not sure whether it was, mate. I'm not sure. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. It was just that bit. Because that, as you know, that's a bit further on at the right at the top. Yes. So thanks a lot anyway, guys. Oh, look at that. 22 people on. 22 people on. My birthday is on the 22nd of May. I got involved in YouTube because an event that happened in Manchester where 22 people died on the 22nd of May. Everywhere I look, the number 22. I was at Debdale Park last week, 2 sets of swans, 4 swans, and I'm like, what the fuck? Pardon my French. And I'm kind of into numerology, so I look at that and I think it has some significance when it keeps doing that, because ironically, 22 is my favorite number. It always has been as a child. So I'm like, man. But anyway, digressing. Mind over matter. It is, mate. It is to overcome all this and still try and pump some good, positive energy into your family and still have some kind of fight with you to redress, not be psychologically torn or worn down or demoralized, because all that shit's happening round now, pardon my French. So, mad, innit? One thing I will say, I do believe it, Mr. Menza. I think numbers play a significant part in all. I mean, everything's numbers. I mean, binary, for God's sake, you know? So everything, building something consists of numbers. You know what I mean? As we know, construction, numbers, building a brick, you know, freaking hell, numbers in terms of molecules, in terms of parts, what you actually need. Everything's number based. I know that's probably a stupid example, but you know what I'm saying? Numbers is everywhere. And I think a lot of people just sail through it, not realizing the significance in their life, and fair play. But for me, I really do feel it. In some ways, you could argue the numbers govern without you actually realizing it. That was the first time I seen for myself what the media said about us all. Open my eyes that day. What day? On that day, it was a sunny day. Not like now, is it? Has to be open now. Well, getting full of bleeding rain. So we're open to doing all right. Still working. Oh no. Yeah, mate. Good old metric. I'm a feet, inches, millimeters kind of guy. When I was, it used to be a glass cutter at one point in my life, and it was always millimeters, eighths, you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff. And probably forgot a lot of it now. Can still kind of semi get there. But every time I do a little bit of DIY, I go straight back to that. My tape measure, I'm turning it the other way so I can get back to my millimeters and stuff. Yes, Mr. Menza. Yes. Like your like-mindedness, my friend. Oh wow, that's a blast. Are you in contact with? No, I haven't. I'm not. No, and it's a shame, you know, because I like Peter. I do like him. He's a great guy. He's one of the most humblest, kind of sincere, easygoing geezers. He's very chilled. And you know what? His support in the beginning, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this. The helping hand he gave me when I first opened my channel and allowing me to go on his channel, and just by watching him in awe, because he could do certain things, JPEGs and editing and tapping on computers. I was like, what the hell? You know what I mean? I'm just like, my name, Red Penfield, upload. That was it. There was no technological prowess then. So I'm looking and thinking, man, this guy's nailing it. And when I met him, he's totally humble. I met him a couple of times now, back then. And then he had to move from where he was in Yorkshire, and he went to Norway. Now, I don't know where he is now. I know him and his family got an element of persecution, but he was a really nice guy. Whether you agreed with his views or not, I think his points were very valid, what he was making. And I think fundamentally, because he's a great guy, he wasn't coming from a position of hatred or intolerance. The first time I met him, he wanted me to join Rebel Media. Or I wouldn't say he wanted to, he was just relaying a message. I guess Ezra Levant had passed a message on to Peter Sweden. So I'd seen a little bit of their stuff and I wasn't interested, not because of who they are, but it didn't matter who it was. I felt that was way too quick to jump into something like that. So I politely declined the offer. And to be fair, it's the best thing I've ever done, even though I don't get the views now because I'm not, I'm not in that kind of circle now. What I'm doing now, buzzing off it, buzzing. I'm in my own space. I've got my own control. And I've learned so much of different people, collated so many good friendships of different people. And that now has got me to this freaking point now. And it's like, yes, in a space where I'm happy. Not where I'm coming on doing dowdy streams and moaning and getting at this. No, them days are done. And also, it changed the subject slightly. I've just come off the phone with our Nanny Robinson. I had to catch up with Nanny because I know a couple of people have mentioned over the week. So I thought I'd catch up with her, and she's in a great place. It was brilliant to catch up with her. And she wanted just to relay the love back out to people. She's not active, but she's active, if you know what I mean. But yeah, she's doing all right. So she just wanted to send her love. Yes, Johnny. Thank you, sir. What is that in between the French dialect? You know what I mean? Right. Let's do this now. Okay. Let's do this. 369, Carl. 369. The goose drank wine. On the streets of Caroline. The line broke. The monkey got choked. See that? Yeah. Anyone sings that now, probably get a community strike for singing that. The monkey got choked. What were you referring to there, Phil? Either you're talking about systemic racism, or is that of a sexual gratification to the monkey, Phil? Either way, you're in a bad headspace for singing that song. So you're breaking YouTube's community guidelines. So fuck off. Pardon my French. The monkey chewed tobacco on the streets of Caroline. How many monkeys chew freaking tobacco? Honestly, it's mad, isn't it, what you grow up singing. And I know some songs have a kind of a folk tale to it, but it's like the monkey chewed tobacco on the streets of Caroline, right? 369. Let's semantically break this shit down. I mean, this is important. We're talking about propaganda. What's that? Fucking hell. You're singing nonsense to your kids. Pardon my French. Let's break this down, right? Let's do this. Sorry, digressing. 369, logical, mathematical, right? What is it? The goose drank wine. Really? So you're going to tell your kid now that the goose is a pisshead? I'm being serious. What you doing? If anyone willfully gave any pet goose of theirs alcohol, I mean, I only referred to kicking the shit out of my cat, and I had a couple of subbers, and it was hypothetical, and they were on my case. Imagine if I'm saying that I'm going to give him a load of freaking Ray and Nephew, I'm going to give him Paddy's knockout punch. Really? That's going to go down well, innit? But no, let's sing this to the nursery kids. What the freaking hell? I know, Johnny, I need to stop with the French. 369, the goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streets of Caroline. How many monkeys do you know chew tobacco? We've, you know, I've not even seen them do that in PG tips. The same, well, in fact, maybe I've seen them smoke cigs and have little photo opportunities. But same again, that's monkey abuse. So, as the monkey now, of its own volition, grabbed the tobacco and it's just bowling through the streets of Caroline, chewing the tobacco? Or has someone give it the tobacco? Or has a bigger monkey now got a little tobacco cartel on the streets of fucking Caroline? Pardon my French. I've got to work this out because, you know what I mean? You've got to watch what you're singing to your kids now, aren't you? 369, goose drank wine, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streets of Caroline, the line broke, the monkey got choked. Did it get choked on the line? Or are we talking something else? You know what I mean? Why do we, when, I've got to try and keep it clean, but I've just got to say something, choking the chicken. So why is it always the animal? So is the monkey a snide reference to malicious, willful, playful things that you're doing with a monkey? Am I going on too much about this? Jeez. Cheetah from Tarzan. Well, you know what? If Cheetah would have got choked, what did Tarzan do the choking, or did the line that he swung on? It's wrong. Monkeys have lives too, right? So you're putting it up as a serial tobacco chewer now, and now it's dead. It's like, what the? And we're singing this as a happy song. 369, the goose drank wine, the goose is a pisshead, the monkey is a tobacco fucking fiend, and now it's dead on the line. And it's like, this is what you're telling your kids, and the kids be like, "Duh, duh, duh." I'm sorry, I'm on a daft one. Yes, Observer, dude. Ring of Roses. Yeah, well, that was about the Black Death, wasn't it? Same again. Like, a tissue, the alt. Yeah, maybe I'm just positivity, mate. Positivity. Sing about the good shit in life. Pardon me French. Dude, me daughters, honestly, they've got some. Everyone's got their own musical taste, right? Everyone, and I've got to appreciate that. I'm a DJ that go through many genres, so fair play. You know what I mean? I'm an appreciator of many genres. But man, my daughter's listening to some dowdy stuff. And I'm on about dowdy. I'm on about, why did you write that? Go and get some counselling because you're severely depressed. There's something wrong. And you're getting royalties for projecting your depression. And it's like, I just want people to dance. I don't want to depress you. I don't. I'm sorry, I've gone right off topic here. Woo. Do you do French at school, Phil? Most of my French was extracurricular, to say the least. I kind of learned it outside of school. Oh, don't go down the black hole. What do you think of the trace that? Oh, come on, Observer. You Observer, mate. You know what I'm going to say? What do you think of it? What? How do I think about being surveilled? How do I think about the metadata then coming back on my ass and then being targeted back through a series of adverts? And them adverts, in some cases, are designed to depress you and then get you onto pharmaceutical drugs. So, Observer, dude, nah, man, not into it. I've not actually got it on my phone. And now they've come out with this rule where everyone's got to have it no matter what you're doing. If that is the implementation, then all that's going to do is stop me going out and doing things. like that. I'll live my life away from it. And I was saying it in the stream the other week. That's where I'm going now, kind of moving away from it. Crazy. Oh, mate, stationary plane. Even the pissing haters. I won't get it, mate. I'm not getting that. Why? Another surveillance tool. It's bad enough I've got the phone anyway. And some people might say, mate, you're being a bit paranoid here. There's enough reasons to realise that this is born on not just paranoia. Even if I was paranoia or paranoid, it doesn't mean to say that what is happening is not true or I'm not seeing it. We can see. Now, at the same time, I'm a free man. I can waltz where I want. So I can't paint this surveillance state as in you're literally targeted like the Minority Report, but in many ways it feels like it. I know I can't go more than 200-300 yards without an image being taken of me. Whether I like it or not, we all get on with it. Is it right? It was there to reduce crime and probably, improve social order. Has it done that? Society is declining ever more than ever. There's more cameras ever more than ever. And because of social decline, we're buying the cameras to put on our house as well. So we're adding to the camera count. But what do? Because that's the society we're kind of living in. Heavily surveilled, but at the same time, there'll be a lot of people who'll just say, you know what? When I just go about my business, if I'm not breaking the law, just go on. Why should I care? The old ignorance is bliss. And in many ways, you have a point. But in many ways, is it the principle? If I was to then, the old argument, even though the argument don't work anymore, this was pre-internet TV. If I was to walk in anyone's household and go, can I just sit there and film you all night? They'd tell me to do one, quite rightly. Wouldn't even let me in the door. And any more talk about that, the police are getting cold. But yet, we're buying all types of devices that are openly telling you that that's exactly what it's doing. Really? And we're all mugs because we're buying into it because of the Trojan horse, because it's labor saving, because it can do this, because I can now transmit and because I can now stream from London, because I can now stream, which is the most profound stream I've done, because I can now stream at a Cuppa Summit, which is one of the highest summits in Windermere. Never forget, I've done that with Billy and Pag and actually streamed on the summit in blizzard conditions. And I'm like, what the, you know what I mean? No one ever does that. No one. And if you want to look back, it's there. It was an amazing day with the boys there from Pag. But yet, that is the modern technology. So in some ways, I love it. In some ways, it does labour save. But in some ways, we're giving up. Same again. Me being on my bike, I feel more spatially alert than ever. Because I still do stupid shit and people bibbing and all that crap. But other than that, I'm people watching more than ever. And because of these devices, you want to see, and anyone will be able to do it, just walk down your old street, how much people disengage just by walking down the street, looking into the phone. And even when they've not got a phone, the amount of people that look on the floor while they're walking. And they'll walk for like 20 yards without actually lifting the head up and making themselves spatially aware of what is around them. And it's amazing. Some geezer today, I was riding home from work. I'm on the road, right? He had his parked van. He walked out from the side of the van, knowing he's walking onto the road. I was coming to his right. He didn't look in his periphery. He was totally blinded. I was coming down. I was on the road. All he wanted to do was come round out from the vehicle onto the road to get to the driver's door and open the door. And I'm thinking, you imbecile. I'm 30, 40 yards away. I can clearly see you are not looking. I can see through the rate of inertia. I am traveling fast towards you. If you don't make yourself aware pretty quickly, something will go on in. So when I got to him, I went, excuse me. You know what he done? He turned to me and went like that. What's that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? If he was looking where he was going, that would never occurred. I was on the road. What more do we need to do? Ride round with flashing lights and a big fucking rafter as I'm riding? Seriously? Like in the old days, stick a fucking Coke can in the back wheel. Pardon my French. I mean, this is what it's like. And people, because they're so disengaged, they're so asleep when they're walking round, they actually look at you and think, oh, what are you doing? Think, well, if you were awake, then maybe that's too much of a rant, but I'm seeing it more and more. Yes, Amanda. I went out for a meal with a family and gave my name and number at the door. Family was saying should have gave false name, and I thought I was the one that's awake. Well, you're doing the right thing. You've got nothing to hide, Amanda. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Rather than, be devious and, kind of circumnavigate it that way. And if you can get away with it, why not? I think it's a poor show. We've got to do it full stop, considering the death rate, considering the likelihood, but yet the fear's not stopped. But yet everyone's life on a day-to-day basis is having to readjust for this. So, yeah. But it's, you know what? Well, you bring up a good point, and I'll get onto this video now. I've been rambling too long. I feel dissident, civil dissident mindset is starting to grow. And I'm seeing it more within people that they're not radicalized. These are normal people. They've always had opinions, you know what I mean? But even normal people will becoming mentally dissident when you're telling them that they can't gather for more than 6, when you're telling them they've got to track and trace, when they're telling them got to go to work, put a mask on to go get a loaf of bread. It's going to start if it's not starting already. And I think he's probably been a contributing factor to then maybe getting our asses in gear and then fighting it with numbers, conscious numbers. Put an air in. I know. And the silly thing is, my friend, I've got a buzzer on the bike. And my friend Paddy, he was out with me one day. And he's got the same. It's like a phone charger, stroke light, stroke buzzer. Now, the buzzer's a buzzer. It's loud enough, right? We were both on the bikes. Paddy was in front of me. We were going down on Reddish Vale, I think it was. There was 2 women just la-di-da-di-da-di, forgetting that the pathways for bikes as well as we'll just spread out and cover the whole space. But it happens. People are chilling. You can't get 2 on it, but this happens all the time. So you'll be riding up. He pressed his buzzer, and he pressed his buzzer. He got to the point, he just kept his finger on it. And we were still rolling towards them, right? They didn't hear it. It's not that they had headphones in. They just wasn't paying attention. And you know what happened next? At the very last moment, one of the women turned around, and jumped like that. And it's like, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? You know what I mean? Get a louder buzzer? Yes, Ryan. How you doing? Right, so let me get onto this vid anyway. Okay, right, so that was a long rant. Sorry about that. Today, I was looking through some of my Facebook messages, and I don't often reply. I don't often go in there because I'm so busy floating about different things. And I apologize. I do make that apparent to people. I can't always get back in touch with you. That's why I always make a point of thanking people and giving people props on my videos, because I very rarely do it through the comment section. So, looking through the comments, this guy gets in touch, person called D. Person called D, it's becoming apparent, is from Northern Ireland. Sends me a link to their channel. Now, their channel is only a small channel. NI Truth Seeker. I look at the videos. I think there's 2 or 3 videos. Like I say, small channel, about 30 odd subscribers. Must be based in Northern Ireland, and it's predominantly just kicked up around the COVID stuff, I gather. This person was kind of interjecting on the various texts, and this person said, "Oh, you know what? I've been looking at your channel for a while, and you inspired me to set this channel up." And it was one of them warm feelings. It's like, man, you know what? You inspire me. And I always say that. I always try and offset the compliments, because when people back me, I back it back, because brilliant people are brilliant people. Don't put me up on a pedestal. Don't do that. I've learned so much through this. I'm thankful for what I've learned, but I didn't know a lot of what I know now technologically, and with certain things that I've researched since then. So this alone has gained so much more experience and friendships. So I think we're all the same. We're all human beings. I've always been an advocate for bigging up smaller channels. It pretty much really pisses me off, pardon my French, when bigger channels stick to themselves. I don't like to see it. I think everyone should look at what other people are doing, because let's face it, everyone's got their own opinion on content. Some people won't like the direction of my content, the way I'm doing my remixes and throwing them on there, the way I'm not doing this, the way I'm not, whatever. I mean, it's up to them. I'm buzzing what I'm doing. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You know, I always try and get round, and I can't do everything. It's unfortunate that I critically think on many different levels. That's why this channel is so expansive. You know, I'm not a narrow-minded channel where you're just going to get one thing. Man, shit, I'm all off over. I'm going to finish this, and I've got a Nicky Lockett remix that I'm finishing off there. And then I've got a comment in on that video one by one to do. And then I've got, so it's like different, multi-dimensional, this shizzle. And people love the content, even though the numbers have dropped for the amount of subscribers. But I'm not bothered. This is quality over quantity, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm an advocate for supporting people, going, come on, rise everyone up. Yeah. So I looked at the link. I only had a look at a little bit, and there was one video that was striking. It must have been an event that had taken place in broadcast in Belfast. Now, it was featuring this lady. There must have been other speakers, but this lady was the title of the video. And I'd never heard of her. Mate, I can't stop it, can I? Jesus. So this lady, I'd never heard of her. My bad, all that kind of stuff. Freaking hell. I watched this video and I'm like, really? Really? This lady's amazing. So I just want to, before we get into it, I'm just going to give a brief outlay. This is the lady. Okay. Well, I'm assuming I tapped her name in, this come up, and certain things fit. So I'm hoping she ain't got a doppelganger, and I'm hoping she ain't got someone else who bears the same name, who happens to live in Ireland. So Be really uncanny, that, wouldn't it? Okay, so Professor Dr. Dolores Cahill has completed her undergraduate studies at Trinity College, Dublin, and PhD from Dublin City University. She is a worldwide renowned expert in high throughout proteomics. Oh, Jesus, all this. So basically, high content protein arrays from the biomedical applications, including a biomarker discovery. A team have achieved key breakthroughs in developing high-density protein and antibody array technologies and demonstrated their applications in biological and medical research. She's like, fucking hell. She's an Irish freaking goddess, obviously. So she knows a shizzle. Surely. You can't, you know, credibility-wise, seriously, if this is the same lady, and I'm almost certain it's going to be, right? So, if I get rid of that, go back into shared screen, stick this up. Do we share audio? Let's have a nibble of the sharing the audio. Right. So, this is the new channel. Like I say, guys, NI True Seeker. Look how small. Only a baby channel. Not sure how old, but honestly, 3 videos. This guy, lady, could go in any direction. It's a journey. It's supporting the journey, not expecting it just to be. You know, you've got to support that. And I think there's a lot of people on my channel who have seen me from back in the day and just supported me for what I've done. Not criticize me because I'm not doing this and I'm not following that anymore. And why aren't you doing another Brian Harvey interview and all that shit? No, just whatever you do, Phil, we'll just appreciate it for what you are. And I'm like, fine, diddly dandy. Let's get another video on. You know what I mean? So just appreciate these guys. Very good graphics, very stunning, very nice on the eye. I love that. NI Tree Seeker. So I've left the link. It should be, and I will leave the link retrospectively for anyone. In fact, what I'll do, I'll even to make it a bit more that, what more can I do? I'll stick the link in the comment section. Is that going to happen? There we go. Booyaka shot. Take that. How do you like them apples? Is it here, Phil? I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it is. Don't say that. Don't say that. Can't be another one, can it? Can't be another one. But if it's not, then this lady's a smart lady on the YouTube anyway. She knows a shizzle. She knows what she's talking about. So I'm going to go through the video, see what you think.
We're going to delay.
Hopefully the audio's come through there. It's had 894 views. So for a small channel, people are resonating with this video. And like I say, it's the same name, innit? So if I have it wrong here, I apologize. But Jesus Christ, what more can I do? You know, I can't really see the photo too well, and I can't appreciate that the photo from that still scene is going to be exactly a likeness of what the lady looks like now. You know what I mean? So got to bear all that in mind. So anyway, shut up, Phil. Let's get on with it.
Your speech. We have the amazing Dolores Cahill here today.
I love that. Did you hear that in the background? She's an absolute fucking scientist. And all that. Boom. Killing it already.
Belfast! Hello, Belfast! Woo! Hello, Belfast! Hello, Belfast! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Hello, Belfast! Hello! Hello, my brothers and sisters! I am your sister. You are my brothers and sisters. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today. So my name is Dolores Cahill, and why I'm here is that I am an immunologist, a molecular biologist, but most of all I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am an aunt, and I am very honoured and proud that my experience can help in this moment, this historical year of 2020, to shine light on what is going on in Ireland and in the world. It's my privilege. So very quickly, I just want to tell you why the lockdown happened, why it was never justified, where we are now, why the 30th of September 2020 in the Houses of Parliament is a historic moment for the United Kingdom and the world, and if the lockdown is extended in the United Kingdom, what I would be recommending and supporting that you do in the United Kingdom. Okay? And in case this is videoed and you don't watch to the end, I will be saying that I would be supporting taking the members of Parliament, Matt Hancock, Priti Patel and Boris Johnson. But I have looked into it, and it takes 10% in a constituency to do a recall. And that I would be supporting every constituency that between this and the 30th of September that you write to your members of Parliament. And it was my privilege to talk on Tuesday to a member of Parliament. And I said to him, you have a historic duty. Every single one of you are leaders. Every single one of you have a voice in the Houses of Parliament, whether you're in the Houses of Lords or the House of Commons. They are elected. They are paid. They get a pension. They have a duty to do an analysis. Every single one of them. Every single one of them can have their own public inquiry in a hotel and invite me and the 20 other or thousands of other people in the world that are standing up against this. And if they don't, they are colluding. And what they are declaring on the 30th of September, if they extend the lockdown in the United Kingdom, every single one of those members of Parliament, I told him, do not deserve to get re-elected for 20 years.
I tell you what, I was saying not so long back, I love nothing more than an intelligent, independent, strong-willed, strong-minded woman in what we consider as the truth movement. Do we see it represented enough? Well, that's for you to, everyone to kind of have their own opinion on that. Me personally, I do not see it enough. I feel a strong woman that can present herself like this and have the education and the common sense behind her, and has got the humility being a mother. Man, stand back. Seriously, the parents, the children of this lady should be very proud. Seriously, at this point, I'm just wondering if she's up for being a surrogate mother to Red Pill Rant Phil. Seriously, because this is the type of mother that I wanted when I was getting called in by the headmaster of the secondary school. This is the mother I wanted. Just saying.
For a generation, they can hang their heads in shame. And if the lockdown is extended on the 30th of September 2020, I will be inspiring. So I'm invited on the 10th of October 2020 to Berlin to speak to 10 million people. I'm in touch with Cahill. But what I will be saying for the UK on the 30th of September, I'm handing on the baton to you and everyone in the United Kingdom. But on the 30th of September 2020 is D-Day for this generation and the elderly in the care homes. It's D-Day. And if they don't do anything on the 10th of October 2020 to 10 million people in Berlin, I will be asking all the people of the world to set up freedom parties, just to have an election and a recall and a referendum on how the lockdown is handled and how.
Are you smelling what I'm smelling at this point? Remember what I said before about mental dissident behavior growing? Well done. I feel this is the start of a cohesive unit that is of the mental mindset to fight against this positively. That's how it feels. This is too expansive. When you've got people of this credibility, you've got doctors and the mainstream media and the doctors that want to buy into the narrative won't want to talk about these, but they're there, aren't they? They're not calling them out. They can't ridicule them all. So there's a bit of a fight. If you'll excuse me 1 sec, seems to be the door. Wait, is there any chance you can call back, mate? I'm just on a bit of a conference call at the moment, mate. Sorry. Oh, brilliant. Oh, mate, thanks a lot, pal. Oh, bless. Bless. The good old biscuit man doing his rounds in this. The weather has got well severe. So, yes. Let's crack on. Let's crack on.
Have an election before Christmas 2020 in countries in the world. And I'm now working with 30 to 35 countries around the world. And we are now looking for evidence from now for public inquiries in each country. And we're setting up a legal tribunal based on the Nuremberg Tribunal for crimes against humanity.
That's what really should happen, shouldn't it? Wouldn't the list be long? I mean, let's consider the list. How many people? Man, if you was to pick time slots for the Nuremberg trials, you know, like they're doing now, if you're going for a meal, well, what time slot do you want? It'd be going on for 30, 40 years. Kids would be growing up dying, and they still wouldn't have been able to conclude this COVID Nuremberg trials because it's that many people involved in either being complicit, either being corrupt, or gaslighting the hell out of the public. Surely. And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to think that. Even a rational person has gone, yeah, I can get that on many levels. There you go. There you go. Start with anyone who was hung around with Epstein. Man, there would be. It'd be too big. You'd have to do it in each country. You'd have to have a country, one in every country. Because there will be politicians that are buying into this and doing everything they can in every country. Now, that doesn't always rub off to the ultimate leader. I mean, in our country, we've got a man who I think in some ways he's trying to do the right thing. In some ways, he's acting like a complete globalist. That's how I perceive our current Prime Minister. And we'll see where we go with that. I don't follow the ins and outs of what he does. I'm living with the consequences of his implementations. So with that, I've got an opinion. It's like, really? Oh, jeez, mate. That's what I'm saying, dude. Where do you stop? But she's right. On a conscious moral level, the highest echelons that have been involved in this, and this is from it coming out in the first place, how many people were involved in that? Was it negligence or was it willful? And then, obviously, from it moving around, and then each country not doing the correct implementations, which has then created so much damage in their own countries, and then changed on a mental level, on a personal psyche, the populations of the globe forever. there's going to be a 2-year period where a lot of people are not going to be able to shake it off mentally. It's reshifted what we know as life. So are we just going to go back? We can't. Knowing it is half the battle. Trying to live your life is probably another quarter of the battle, but it's still there. Still very reticent. So it's just a shame, isn't it? Delete the elite. It's right. Right, let's get back to this lady, because she's on it.
So each one of you can write, and I will be asking as well for you to remember the elderly in the care homes, and just write a little note if it's your neighbour this week, if it's your neighbour, if it's your grandaunt, if it's your aunt, if it's your grandparents, please just write to the elderly and say we have not forgotten them. Because in Ireland they have said they are even stopping window visits. So that if you have...
Stopping window visits. You know, it's like, how much do you want to, what do you want to do? It's like the ultimate outcry and outrage is only going to create one thing, I feel. Because that is disgusting. Why? Do you get COVID through windows now? I mean, they might think and derive an idea on why that is logical to stop people, but on a psychological level, what are you doing? Not only to the old woman or the old man who's in the home that's now being denied of a window visit, but the people that wanted to go and see, the family members, the friends, whatever. The damage you're doing on a psychological level, you're messing with people's heads.
I have a grandchild that has her first communion, that they are not allowed the person in the care home to actually even see their grandchild. That is shocking.
It's going to breed a pitchfork mentality, I feel. It's going to just breed where people have just had enough. And in some ways, that's a good thing. In some ways, it's not the way we want to do it. It's not going to be proactive, and it's going to give them the justification to bring forth the police state on your ass and lock everything down properly. You know, so this battle has to be done with brains rather than brawn.
So what we are doing is that these elderly, they built our countries. We love them. They are our family. And if you don't have children in a care home, we know you are our cousins or our aunts and uncles, our neighbours, and you deserve better. They are not prisoners. So what I'm saying, on the 30th of December 2020, everyone shine a light on your members of parliament, and they have to vote, and it has to be published for who votes for the lockdown. And if they vote to extend the lockdown, they are voting that the elderly are confined to their rooms, that they don't get sunlight, they don't get hugs from their families and their grandchildren, and they don't go out for Sunday dinner. And if they vote to extend the lockdown, they are declaring war on the grandparents, the grandmothers and grandfathers, on the elderly generation, and we are not having it.
This woman's knocking it out of the park. I really want to now be called Red Pill Phil Cahill. I really want to. I want to say, all right, Mum, you know what I mean? She's kicking ass. She stood there, cool as you like, just saying, I ain't having any of this. And I'm like, what? That is so thought-provokingly arousing. It is amazing.
So basically, I'm asking each of you here and each of you listening to this to write a letter to your member of parliament, but most of all to write a letter to Priti Patel, to Matt Hancock and to Boris Johnson to say, you not in our name. You are not extending the lockdown in our name. So not in our name, no extension of the lockdown. Not in our name. The elderly are not prisoners. seniors, free the elderly, free your grandparents, free the elderly in the care homes. They have freedom of speech. The elderly have freedom of assembly. They have the right to leave. And if you know an elderly person in the care home, they should ask to leave and come and visit your house. And then let the care home or the people in the healthcare service call the police and try and arrest a 90-year-old person who's making free choice to leave the care home. So free the elderly! Free the elderly from the care homes!
Is that a true event that happened? A 90-year-old got arrested for trying to leave the care home? You just wonder what's going on, don't you? You just wonder. The one thing I was thinking about when this lady was just talking about that there, we all know, the wife and I knew of a couple, an older couple, and the husband had passed away, and which left the lady. And through a chain of events, the lady sometime later has passed on as well. Now, we're not saying there wasn't an illness or anything, but there's many cases where you do get the feeling of the broken heart and missing somebody that much, not having them in their life, having that part missing. That there's something in the soul and spirit that dies that probably even doctors can't explain, that then further can go on to dramatic effects with that individual. Some people literally do die of a broken heart, I guess. Is that what I'm trying to say? I don't know whether that's a medical diagnosis, but we've all seen it. And I can in some ways, I can understand being lonely, missing your companion for so many years. So why I'm saying all this, this is what you're doing. When you've got people in homes that can't leave, can't have visitors through a window or not through a window, is something going to die inevitably within both sets, the person going to see and the person who is going to be seen, to a point where, same again, how many deaths could you attribute in the care system, maybe in mental institutions, right now, since the COVID, that has been as a consequence of the mental instability of the current implementations? People who just cannot handle it. They've either took their own life or their body has given up. How many? Don't hear too many of them talking about that. And these implementations, they don't seem to consider that that is a real consequence of these implementations. And that's nothing to do with COVID. That's probably more to do with, if you wouldn't have brought these rules out, they still would have been alive. It's as simple as that. But anyway, let's get back to my adopted mum.
And if Boris Johnson has to take responsibility, so this is the wrong message for Boris Johnson, for Priti Patel and Matt Hancock. Everybody search the 11th of September 2020 World Health Organization Director General, when he declared the pandemic in the whole world between December, January, February and March. Out of 7,000 million people, 4,291 people had died from SARS-CoV-2. So that's 1% of the annual flu deaths. Coronaviruses are seasonal. They have caused most ill health between December and April. So they only had 1% of the annual flu death. So on the date that it was called, there was no reason for the pandemic. On day one, there was no reason ever. So if these members of parliament were doing their job, it's just common sense. You would expect a pandemic to be multiples of the annual flu deaths, right? Not 1%.
Fake numbers.
So there was no reason for the pandemic, and it has been known for 40, 50 years that if you declare a pandemic, you will have shutdown of the economy, and that will cause multiple more deaths in undiagnosed cancers, in suicides, in depression, cardiovascular disease.
Boom. Boom. Said that all along. Let's not forget the fear. Let's not forget the fear that is generated, the relationships that are going to change. People might be splitting up. People will be physically, domestically, sexually abusing as a heightened consequence of this. And none of this is considered. It's like the small amount of deaths that we've got of COVID, that's what's got to override. And if all that happens over there, then let's whistle and just keep going on. Put your mask on.
Disease.
Pandemic.
And so what they've been doing, as you know, we've had some of us have threats to our health, threats to our jobs, threatened to be arrested. But what do we say? Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on! Because what they are doing is you are the people who work and pay taxes to pay the salaries of all these people. All the people on the SAGE committee, all the people on the advisory in Ireland, all the civil service writing their guidelines. And what this has done is revealed how governments work. And they are using your taxes, pushing them up to the United Nations, to the World Health Organization, to the European Union, so that if they want to manipulate or engineer a society, they just say, oh, it's not us, we're getting best advice from the United Nations. And if you're on social media now, they say, oh, you know, the World Health Organization, that's where all the advice comes from. But those people are not accountable. And then, so you have all these layers of civil service and agencies and employed people in Parliament and ministers and Boris Johnson all getting fat salaries, fat pensions, and also, you know, a social standing, as if we are locking the elderly in our homes. We are causing teenagers anxiety by wearing masks because we care. We care, but of course nobody is actually producing the evidence to show that isolating the elderly has more benefit than harm. And I am stating my reputation that what they're doing is more harm than good. So how we get them is through the democratic process. Okay, so you guys have to register for election. Write to your members of parliament, write to the accountable ministers and say, not in our name, okay, not in our name. And then, you know, you just have to threaten, but actually you can set up freedom parties and all of you can stand for election, or we could actually have the elderly in care homes stand for election. That's the democratic process. But the other thing you can do is make the individuals making these guidelines and ministers and heads of departments personally accountable, because they use your money and your hard work and your taxes and your faith in them against us. And they're not providing any evidence for what they're doing. So all you have to do is write a simple letter, right? The pen is mightier than the sword. And hold them personally accountable through a notice of liability, and you can search for one there. So you can just say, if I was 80 years old in a care home, I would say, I want to go and hug my grandchildren, I want to go out for Sunday lunch. And you, as their family, or they can write a notice of liability to the care home owner or to their doctor and say, you have to prove to me that it's more beneficial to my health to be locked up and not get hugs and not get sunshine and
Why? Kill it again. Killed it again. The way she's brought that round, put the liability on them, prove that actually what is happening now is going to be more beneficial. Because at the moment it's looking detrimental. So if you can provide sufficient proof, then yes, we'll have it. But how easy is that going to be for them? That's the point where they're like, then they'll try throw dodgy figures at you. And like this smart lady, just twist them up in knots. Boom.
Now, keep touch with my family. And if this is not the case, I am putting you on a notice of liability. And if they do something wrong, it's called malfeasance. And in the United Kingdom, if they are actually forcing you to do something like not get sunshine, be isolated, under malfeasance, which anyone can take, it's 5 years in prison. 5 years in prison. So malfeasance is for a care home owner. Now, obviously, we don't want to be doing it, but they are lying to you. They are saying these guidelines, it's actually better for you to wear a mask. It's better for you to be isolated. It's better for you to not take a tested vaccine than to take a preventative medicine that's been licensed for 70 years and is an essential medicine of the world. And that will boost your immune system. And there has been 10 Nobel Prizes for vitamins. Okay, so you can eat well, have vitamins, take zinc, have preventative hydroxychloroquine. So what I'm also in Ireland, we have managed to bring down the number of total deaths in Ireland.
That drug keeps coming up again, doesn't it? It keeps getting batted off, but more and more professionals are going, it's been on the market, it actually works. That's just like them saying, you know what, I like tomato sauce on my chips, right? Now, I've had it for years, since I've grown up. Don't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? It's the way I am. Now they're saying, no, you've got to have salad cream on your chips now. Salad cream's better for you. When you know in reality, tomato ketchup is just as bad or just as good, however you want to look at it. But ultimately, the reasons why they're telling you that you shouldn't be having the ketchup, it doesn't stand up because it's just ketchup. It's almost like they just don't want you to have the ketchup. There doesn't seem to be any logic or stats that tell you that officially salad cream is the new sauce for chips. Sorry, stupid analogy, but felt so right at the time.
From COVID-19 to 96 in the whole year for everybody. 96 people out of 5 million, 0 deaths, 0 COVID-19 deaths in Ireland in December, January, February, March. And we did that very simply by saying to the coroners, we can go through all the 1,700 deaths that you are falsely reporting, and then ask the families to contact me and go through each death. And if it was a car accident or Alzheimer's and you put down COVID-19, that's a crime. And you can be struck off. And the coroners can be held criminally liable for falsely reporting.
What can you say? The reason why this sounds so right is because she is so right. Morally, what is going on at the moment? There's no one metaphorically hanging for this. And this is why it's transcending just from paradigm to paradigm. Because it doesn't matter what you follow or don't follow at this point. A lot of it doesn't make sense and doesn't currently stack up. And that's the clear-cut common sense. So when you look at the dramatical effects it's having, prison sentences sound pretty good. But at the same time, when you look at what they're doing, a prison sentence is only what they deserve. If I was implementing a vaccine or implementing certain guidelines, which was creating deaths all over the place, in order to combat COVID, and all them deaths were still happening, are them deaths still on me? Or am I relinquished from that because I was trying to combat COVID when the numbers didn't stack up me doing that anyway? And when there are other drugs that can quite easily combat COVID without you doing that to A, B, and C, with shutting that hole down. And this is what she's saying: criminality.
And there is a separate crime now. So we are now calling, if anyone in Ireland is listening to this, for those 96 deaths, that if actually someone has a death cert that still has COVID-19 on it, but they know that their loved one died of something else, get in contact with me, Dolores Cahill at gmail.com, and we will look into every one, because all of those deaths were from April to September. Coronaviruses don't really cause illness after April, so it doesn't make any sense. Second of all, we can look into each of those deaths and see if they died in the care home or with their doctor. Were they given good nutrition? Were they given vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc? And were they given preventative treatments or treatments like inhaled steroids or hydroxychloroquine? And if they weren't, the doctor is personally accountable and the family can sue the doctor for unnecessary death.
A lady like this is very dangerous. Great for us. Great, but dangerous. Imagine. They'll be quaking. They don't want professionals like this with credentials stood there going, and what? And what? What can you really say?
So the government, I'm afraid, this is another message for Boris Johnson and Matt Hancock, Priti Patel. They are basing the lockdown on the increased numbers of deaths, potentially. But of course, if you have a disease where you can prevent it and treat it, nearly every single case, that means that every death now and this winter was preventable. So you're dealing with, for the minister, malfeasance in public office, which is a crime of 5 years. You're dealing with the doctors who are colluding in criminal manslaughter and in preventable deaths, and in the coroners falsely reporting. So we have now woken up, and so there should be no deaths of COVID-19. There is prevention and treatment. Any doctor that is associated with that can be struck off. Any civil servant or care home worker, the families can sue them under notice of liability and criminal and civil malfeasance for 5 years in prison. So it's not looking so pretty now, the lockdown, is it? It's not looking so pretty. And the reason why this is important is that I will put my reputation that the continuation of the lockdown is more harm than good. And any doctor, any civil service, any member of parliament, any prime minister involved in enforcing something with the power of the state through so-called guidelines and police powers and threatening, that is more harm to the general population and specific people like teenagers wearing masks, small business owners and restaurants that have been put out of business for no reason, and the elderly that have been isolated in care homes, not spending the last years of their lives getting hugs from their families and their grandchildren, that is doing more harm than good. We have to stop it on the 30th of September, and I'm happy that they are informed that what they're doing is criminal. We're not having it, and thank you very much. Goodbye, Belfast. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
More can you do to that? Loved it. Well, I guess I'll have to look into that, Mr. Menza. I will. Notice a liability. Well, it's, to be fair, I mean, it's a moral noticed that they're already currently on, aren't they? I guess you just got to make it official. And she's right. She's bang on, isn't she? In terms of the deaths, for every death that is actually happening now, you could argue that that is one death that didn't need to happen. When you look at in line of the preventative measures that are currently in place that have worked, don't give me that double-blinded study shit. You know what I mean? You're clearly watching people die in homes. That's nothing to do with the COVID, just off stress and just off everything else. So when you talk about double-blind studies, no, that's just a get out. You just don't want to use that drug. So when you think you don't want to use a drug that's actually working and you want to drag people through the mill that's going to inevitably kill people, depress people, throw anxiety all over the world, and then lock them down, and then hopefully, in your eyes, in the future, roll out a vaccination program in order to then psychologically tell people that without this vaccination, that really life's not going to be quite the same, you know, and you're not going to be as fit and as healthy, and you're going to be susceptible. So if you just take this, and if you take this, we'll give you an incentive. You know what I mean? We'll give you a free mobile phone. And you can see that these little trinkets, you know, you can get this job once you've done that, you can get on that bus now. And that's how they'll buy the people that are not awake, not seeing into it, and just want to get back to reality. Well, that's true. That is a point. You know, I guess we'll have to look at that. But there's got to be some way, on a litigious way, that you can throw liability back at doctors for the way they're acting. If you can clearly ascertain your point of view, as in, if you've got a thorough plan of how you feel they could be treated, what has already been proven with doctors. This ain't just an individual just coming out, well, I think. No, when you've had a doctor saying this, so she's already outlaid a plan that could work. So then the lockdown and everything that's happening because of it shouldn't be happening, should it? So if on a litigious level, if you can word a letter, put in it that, listen, we know what you're doing, and you might be sticking with your boys now, but let me tell you, on a legal level, we're now slowly recognizing that what you're doing is fundamentally breaking the law. Fuck narratives, pardon my French. So litigiously, the doors are going to come knocking. Yes. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I did enjoy that. And thanks again to NI Truth Seeker. I've already put the link in the stream there. If there's any more events, Truth Seeker going on, great. If you want my attention, I'll gladly share any of your stuff. That was a brilliant clip. I'm not sure when that event was. But yeah, it was great, and good bit of footage, good filming as well. So if you film that yourself, fair play to you, sir. Good sound, nice clear day. That's everything good about a good outdoor protest where you can actually film a good piece. So how many times have we filmed something? It's muffled, you can't hear anything, or there's someone's ass is in the way, someone's head bobbing all over. It's like, no, this is great. In your face, right there. All right. Well, yeah, there's always that nugget as well, isn't there? Yes. Join. Yes. Oh, look, it's all coming out now. Carcinogens. Carcinogens. You know? So with carcinogens, you're more likely to have a detrimental effect on your body than COVID. There's more carcinogens available on a probability level for you to get cancer rather than COVID under the current status. Am I right in saying that? In terms, if you're talking fucking carcinogens, Pardon my French. It's in all kinds of shizzle in it. Stuff that they won't want you to know that's in it. You are welcome, sir. Yes, nice one. Good luck with your channel. Keep me posted, and mate, I'll do anything I can to spread the word. That's what we're all doing. Look at that footage. That I couldn't have done that any better, mate. Apart from me rambling and spraying holy water on every fucker. But other than that, brilliant bit of footage there, mate. Well done. And yeah, so I'm going to call it a day. I've got jacket potatoes to manage. Getting on it. And yeah, you stay safe, guys. There'll be more content coming up. Going to be another remix coming up. There's going to be that breakdown of the 1 by 1 and other material, other content. Yes, Gerald, don't tell me you've just bobbed in, mate. Mate, it's the wrong time, dude. The door is still swinging and I'm on my way out of it, Gerald. So it looks like you've missed the party. If you were just arriving to my party now, I'm stringing down my decks and I'm about to put the speakers in the car. So there's no point in going to the bar. That's what I'm saying to you. So what you'll have to do, Gerald, you'll have to watch it retrospectively. Yes. Oh, thanks. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone. Thanks for your time. And maybe stay sane. And you know what? It's great when you've got people like this. Isn't it reassuring that we know the world ain't as insane as sometimes we think it is? There are a lot of good people that are smart, that are not putting up with this shit. And this is a perfect example. Yes. Living in the light, mate. Living in the light. The light just, honestly, you just see cockroaches everywhere when you're living in the fucking light because they're scattering. They can't deal with someone who's positive and who's got a brain in their head and who can string a sentence together. And I'm not even talking about me there. I'm talking about here. Yes. So with that, guys, I'm going to say adios, amigos. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you stay dry. Weather's proper shite, but you know what? Don't matter. It's what's going on in here, innit? What's going on inside. So thanks for all for jumping on. I don't know whether Great Brit's been on there, modding away. I don't know if he hasn't. But thanks a lot, guys. I shall see you very soon. Until then, take care. And I love you all.
I love you. 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 I love you.
Even the pissing haters.
I love you. 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 I love you.